What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we have Kiesel on the channel with us, guys. We're gonna talk about Arena, how we can improve Arena, and what Plarium should do from here on to make Arena a better experience for everybody. What's up, Kiesel? How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on, dude. It's been fun doing some videos with you this week, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So guys, you'll be finding his link in the description down below and in the pinned comments. Make sure you guys head over and check him out. Drop him that subscribe. So basically, guys, Plarium said this is the year of PvP. Now, I know Kiesel made a video where he talked about Plarium might be doing live arena or something like this in the future. So today we're going to have a look at what exactly we can improve in the lower tiers of arena and what we can improve for Platinum Arena, right? Like in the other video that we made, we kind of talked about how they should make whales compete against whales, which are actually doing already, but most probably they will be jumping to do that from a PvP perspective, like arena, clan versus clan, PvP, not the actual tournament and stuff. What's like your take on this matter, you know?
Well, I think really, if you want to look at it from like a holistic point of view, I think Plarium has exhausted its means of revenue generation, right? So I think today they make money on this game through a marketing, a very bizarre but very effective marketing practice. And not to plug myself, it's not my intent, but if you guys want to learn more about it, I did make a video called Raid Made Billions. It's fascinating how they actually plan their marketing budget. But I think that marketing budget, they decided on a daily basis whether or not they're going to keep doing it, right? I think that's ended because we don't see as many ads anymore as we used to see. It was a huge meme. Everyone knew Raid, of course. Like, I remember being in a job interview and looking up at the TV, and it was Raid. And the CEO of the company was like, "Man, my son plays that. I see this everywhere. What is that?" And I was sitting there like, "Oh no." Like, they're gonna find out that I do content on this game, but no, that's a tangent. But no, I think today they've exhausted so much money on marketing that they're willing to keep spending money, but the means of which they were spending money is no longer effective. They have diminishing returns. The next best step is to take all that money that they're willing to spend, that marketing budget. They don't want it to go away. I think they're plugging it into stuff like esports leagues. They're sponsoring teams. They're sponsoring leagues themselves. And I think they're doing that. I think it's forecasting the fact that this game is going to take a hard turn into being a PvP focused game. And the only thing in my mind, if you're going to sponsor esports leagues, esports teams, is that you're going to go live. You'd have to have live. And, I'll refer to that as like real-time arena because that's what other games refer to it as. But I think, you're going to have the arena as it stands. I don't think they're going to change it. I wish they would. And I think you're going to have a new arena that's going to be live matches.
Yeah. That is a big possibility, actually, because I think it's going to be pretty hard for them to actually change the entire system of the current arena, You've seen what they've done with the Tag Arena 3v3. They literally copy-pasted, multiply it with 3, and that's it, guys. You got a new arena, basically. But they'll have to actually change it completely in order to make it relevant, because if no, people will feel the same and nobody will do it. Like, nobody does 3v3 out of pleasure or out of excitement, because it's pretty much the same thing like a classic arena. But yeah, they actually got involved with esports. You actually sent me a link before. We know already that they've been a partner with Navy, the Counter-Strike team. They've been sponsoring that team for a while. Seems like they are sponsoring different things in the esports. So this is actually definitely making some sense that they might want to look at it as a competitive game. And if we're looking right here, they're actually talking about Raid and the Mac Arena. But if they're only intending to do that for Mac Arena, they wouldn't really stress to have the Raid Shadow Legends name there. And on the t-shirts from the Navy team, you actually see sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, not by Plarium themselves. So yeah, it would make some sort of sense to make it a bit competitive, because how you said, it's natural for them to evolve from here on to keep the game alive while they're cashing in a lot of money,
Yeah. Well, what they want to do is, it's a publicly traded company, so they live quarter by quarter, right? So every 3 months, this 3 months has to be better than the last 3 months, and it doesn't matter what you did 3 months ago. It only matters what you did in these 3 months, right? That's just the way that works. That's the way your financial reporting system works. And the problem with that is there's no room for excuses. If you have a bad 3 months, then your shareholders are probably gonna leave. They're gonna go somewhere where they're having a good 3 months. People have very short memories in investing, and this is a publicly traded company, so it's an investment, and the company is ultimately driven by the investors through the board and through the chairman of the board and through the CEO. So essentially, I think they've exhausted the game as it stands today and its ability to be monetized, right? And I think it's still gonna make money, don't get me wrong, but it's gonna start to go down. It's gonna start to dip, right? That's gonna create some concern. That's gonna create shareholders looking at other stocks. People are gonna potentially, not invest in Aristocrat at that point, because you invest in Aristocrat, one of the main things they talk about is Raid Shadow Legends, right? That being said, how do you have a good next quarter? How do you recover? And I think you do that with PvP, because it's a good story. And now you can say, well, we're partnering with esports leagues. Investors don't know any different. Like, the first response is going to be, oh, well, this game would have to be categorically changed to be a real-time arena game. And I'm sure you agree.
Yeah.
Right? Well, the investors don't know that, right? Do you think the investors play Raid Shadow Legends?
Hell no.
I don't think the people that work at Aristocrat play Raid Shadow Legends. None of them know, right? But what they do is, somebody puts a marketing plan together and puts it in front of the CEO, and he goes, okay, that makes sense, And I'm only saying he because I know it's a guy named Trevor Coker. But so essentially that's the process I think they went through. So now you have a compelling story to your investors, like, hey, we're moving this game into esports. That's a huge thing right now. It's a big opportunity for us. Competitive, aspects are going to improve the monetization of this game. It's going to improve our marketing. It's a very smart move. It's exactly what I would do. But don't get confused and think to yourself, how would they do it? How would that work? That's irrelevant. That doesn't matter, right? The decisions aren't made based on how. When it comes to the mechanics of the game, those decisions are made based off of whether or not they will improve the story behind the stock. That's it.
Pretty much. I mean, I can't see the game being a live arena. I can see it having that, definitely. And in terms of this arena, like, we have a lot of problems in the lower tiers. New people coming to the game are always fighting like stronger enemies. At the moment, from what I'm aware, it's all tied to their current amount of points that they have. So basically, I have 3,600 points. I'm gonna fight somebody that's pretty much in the same sort of amount of points, like near me, But I feel like it's not really the right approach, because new people are coming in and hitting the wall, the OG wall, basically. A lot of older people that are playing the game, they quit it. They're still there, logging in here and there. And what do you think they would be able to do to improve a bit that for the entire community, like once and for all, a major fix, rather than just introduce bots time to time, make it work for 3 months, 3 months is not working, 3 months is working, 3 months is not. You think, like, if they would make it in some way to be like the player power versus the player power of the team, or the player level versus the player level, to be a bit more relevant for the people that are kind of like facing each other, you think that would be a bit better overall, would be a good fix? Or
well, I think the main fix, I think your ideas are great, and I think that's a way to put a band-aid on the current situation, right? And maybe it fixes it for good, but it's still kind of it's not really what other people are doing. So this is an area where Plarium fails categorically. They don't look at the success of other games. So like, if you look at Awakened Chaos Era, the funny thing about it is you can play that game for 48 hours. And if you've played multiple gacha games, the first thing you're going to say is, wow, they kind of stole the best aspects of every other gacha game I've played. Now, whether or not that game lasts long-term is irrelevant. I have no idea. But you can just tell playing it that, whoever's developed it has definitely had a significant amount of experience playing gachas, and they were, intending upon doing the right things, right? So the thing that Plarium has done very wrong here is they don't have a shard-based system, right? Or a server-based system. So in a lot of gacha games that I've played in the past, Age of Magic being one, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes being one, I can't think of them. I think Marvel Strike Force is one I played that had a shard system, and then of course Awakened Chaos Era. It's you and 19,999 other people. So it's 20,000 people per shard. And those shards, or servers, whatever you want to call them, they're only open during a certain period, right? So essentially, once they fill up, they go to the next shard. That fills up, they go to the next shard. So you're going to be in that shard with people that started the game at the same time as you, and you can only play an arena against those people, right? And I think that's just a significantly better system than what we have today. And then honestly, and I think you're going to ask this question in a little bit, but you could have the shards, right, based off of regions, which is what MMOs do. So now you have your shard or your server that's also based in the East Coast of the US. Now your reset time is very feasible. Maybe it's 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. for everyone, right? So having everyone lumped together, I think Plarium likes it because they think now all of our whales get to compete against each other instead of only a whale. Maybe your 20,000 server people server doesn't even have a mega whale. Unfortunately, maybe you're in a 20,000 person server that think back to like old World of Warcraft. Like if you were unfortunate enough to play on Tichondrius, right, in the very beginning, you had to be all those guys were professional PvPers by the time it was over, right? If you were on some of the, on certain servers, you could probably have never had a difficult, PvP match and, had a pretty clean path forward to number one. So there is that aspect of the shard. It is random. It's an RNG. Who are you going to be in there against? But it's finite, so it puts you in a situation where you're never battling against, people that have, totally built up accounts that they've left and are just sitting there in the way in bronze or silver or lower gold. It fixes a lot of problems with one move. That's the kind of stuff I would like to see Plarium do.
Yeah, like I played a few different games that they had the server system, like server 1 and goes all the way to God knows, depending on how popular the game will become and how much it grows and how many servers they gotta bring in over time. But that's definitely a good thing for our newer players to start on a common server. The time zone as well is going to be very important because right now we have one reset for Arena. It's the same thing for 3v3 Arena. So it's nothing interesting if moving from here to Platinum Arena, for example, we have the reset time. It's bad. Literally the only people that benefit out of it, probably the best time is for Australian people, right? Because their time zone fits perfectly. Then we have the European guys, which mostly they go at work at 7 or 8 a.m. in the morning on Monday morning, So who's playing Arena? Mainly 20-year-old kids and some other people that have the luxury to afford to invest that time on it, And there are not that many people. So at the moment, you're constantly seeing the same faces over and over and over again in Arena. And it lasts for 15 to 20 minutes. So this is something that we requested so many times. Like Plarium, change the reset time. Make another reset if you don't want to change that one, split it into two and bring one where the entire player base can actually find a common ground and play against each other. Because right now I feel like 400 or 500 people are playing Arena while 2,000-3,000 are not even looking at it because they're like, 4 a.m. I'm gonna go back to bed, man, leave me alone. That's exactly how you felt, right? Like how you felt when was reset and you heard 2 more hours, Kizel. What you said?
Yeah. Well, no, so like Venular, who's I think he's got rank 1 like 3 times. So he and I sat together one night, or basically for an entire day, and we came up with a whole plan. I had all these counter teams, and you just kind of tell me, all right, in the last 15 minutes, you want to start switching out your Necrit dupe. We have one Necrit dupe that was high resist, and another one I don't remember how he built it. But essentially like. He had it. There's obviously it was down to a science. So I was ready to go, and I was like, all right. So 1 a.m. it's like 1 a.m. and I'm like top 40 or something. And so I messaged everybody in Sacred Pandas and I said, hey, how much longer until the thing resets? And they're like, 2 more hours. So like we haven't even started yet. And I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna go to bed. Sunday night, bro. Sunday night, and I'd have to until 3 a.m. Like, come on, there's no way I can pull that off. I got to be at work Monday morning. There's no way. And for what? For very minimal rewards.
I feel it. Like that's what the majority of the player base thinks, at least for the people that are looking to try to get into Platinum Arena. I know a lot of people don't really care about Arena as much. They just want to grind their Great Hall and call it a day. But a lot of other people care about Arena. Is a fun part. Once you reach the end game, it's not much left for you as a player because you're literally just farming the same thing over and over again. Is nothing that really drives you to make you want to compete in the game except Arena, which is not really a massive competition since we're talking about dollars here and stuff, but overall it's kind of like the best thing. And I feel like changing a reset time would be awesome. Transforming a bit Arena in a different way, like to be able to play it for more than the last 15 minutes where everybody brings out the big guns, they're hiding all their secret defenses and different champions in the vault the entire week, and bring them out for the last 15 minutes and be like, oh wow, this was so fun. I literally just prepared for 6 days and something to play 15 minutes, you know, feels amazing. So would be nice to see some sort of changes to Arena. Maybe just change the way it works when we're refreshing pages. A blind Arena would be amazing, man. That would be literally the best thing. What do you think about blind Arena?
In Epic 7 they do a blind Arena. I want to say they go blind like 3 hours before reset. So and for a bit there, I want to say, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong about this, but I think they would go blind like 2 weeks out of the month, to kind of try that out. Now I think they go blind 3 hours before every reset.
Oh wow, that's actually a very interesting idea.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like I've competed on that game for like top 100 quite a bit, and their legend equivalent and or platinum equivalent, they call it legend. But it's interesting when you're going in blind, because you can see what the defense is. And at least in that game, there's a lot of different routes you can go with defense. I know there is, quite a few different ones in Raid 2. But then, whoever's actually setting that defense, they might, you might be known for your Warlord defense, right? And then suddenly you might switch out your Warlord and, have more of like a Necrit focused defense, for instance. And, if that's your game, then suddenly you're blind, right? Somebody might go right in not thinking it's Skratch, right? And then all of a sudden you say, oh no, it's Skratch. Like, so even if they want to avoid you, you can manipulate that. And that's a lot of fun. It's the one thing I will say about it, and probably Plarium's excuse to not do it, is it very often turns into a like predetermined, you're going to kind of just say, all right, the guy that's number one, like it's his turn to be number one, because there's usually some award at like the end of the season if you're rank 1, and so people usually kind of pre-discuss that. But I think you could get around that, especially I think the way you get around that is probably by like with daily rewards. Maybe the rewards are like a little bit smaller, but you can actually have a payout on a daily basis. And I think there's systems out there that could get around even that aspect of it, or do blind Arena, for instance, and kind of see where that goes. And then if your players are predetermining, and that's commonplace, then you address that at that point. But I think you have to get to the better system first.
Definitely. Like I would love to have like a daily thing. Here would be amazing. A daily thing. So many people will actually get to do it, because today I might have the time to play, but I won't have the time tomorrow. But then you will have the time tomorrow. So then it literally brings the entire community that cares about Arena on, because they're all going to be able to play it at some point during the week. If we have it on different days, for example, would be a great thing. But I don't really see them being generous with rewards, like increasing the rewards to give us so many rewards overall. So blind Arena will definitely be a good thing, because at the moment the main issue is like, well, we're all having the clan tags. This is not attacking this one, the other one is not attacking that. And I have a clanmate with kind of like an idea, like, don't let us refresh the page. Once we got the page, that's it. We gotta beat everyone on the page in order to get to the next one, and only have one try at each team, But that kind of brings us to the problem with the old boosting, So before, you're well familiar with the boosting situation. It took them forever to sort it out. But it might bring us to the next situation. People will be like, well, this is my guy. He's gonna go for number 1. I'm gonna lose the fight against this guy, even though I don't really want to lose it, but I'm going to leave it to this guy. I'm going to be the rest of the page to refresh it, But this guy is going this week. I'm going to go next week, So I feel like this is going to be another problem. And I think they need to find a way to go around all this, because we don't want to go back to square one. It took us so long to fight for that thing to get fixed, And I wouldn't want to see it in the same spot again,
Yeah, and so here's maybe the best answer I could put to it. And for people that haven't played another gacha, this might be news. For people that have played other gachas, this might not be news, but you have a lot of confidence in Smilegate, right? When you're playing Epic 7, right? Now, you have zero confidence in Plarium when you're playing Raid, you know? But what's interesting about Smilegate is, if there's a problem, it is absolutely going to be addressed. Sometimes Smilegate addresses the problem so fast that it creates new problems, and that's okay because they're addressing the problems, So like if you go play Epic 7, what they're going to tell you is, well, we love Smilegate, but everybody's going to hate you. It's like being president, right? No matter what, 50% of the player base is not going to like you. That's just the reality of being a game developer. They had a bad experience, now they don't like you, right? But what's interesting about it is if you go talk to like the upper echelon players, they'll say, yeah, honestly, Smilegate caters too much to the player, and then they make really quick decisions to change things because people complain about it. And you're like, yeah, but that's a good thing, right? Like that, you want them to make changes because people are upset, So the downside of that is you're talking about an in-game problem that persisted for a very long time. And, I remember when that was going on, there was very little confidence that Plarium was going to resolve it. I mean, very little. And when they finally resolved it, it was like, finally, you guys did something about it. Now the fear is, okay, we have more problems. But what if, since Plarium doesn't fix anything, what if, they try, these problems, like, we don't want them to undo the fix that they already did, So the challenge of it is, I don't think people at Plarium play Raid at all. I don't think there's a single one of them that have experienced a platinum push. I don't think there's a single one of them that's in platinum today. It always shocked me in talking to Raid employees or Plarium employees. I'd say, hey, what's your account look like? And they'd send it to me and it'd be, a week 2 free to play account, and you're like, okay, so you know nothing about the game, but that's the downside. They're not engaged enough and they don't care enough to actually resolve problems. So they're gonna, if you complain about it long enough, they might put a little fix in, and then you're back in, okay, well, they gave us a little attention, but now you're in that place of, okay, well, we don't really want them to undo this, we don't really want them to come in and maybe even mess it up. So you gotta get to a point, right, as the producer of this game or the developer of this game, to where your player base is confident, and they say, okay, well, they're going to fix this. Don't really know how, but it's going to get fixed. And you have that confidence when you play Epic 7. So it does exist,
Yeah, like how Hellhead said as well, before they really had no backbone at all. So I definitely remember the times when the Russians, they were always right. Everything was done for the Russian community from their side because that was literally their home as Plarium house, like Ukraine next to them were all friends. Their biggest community comes from there, and whatever else was happening with the rest of the community didn't matter as much, So that's how it was before. It's no secret here. So if Plarium gets upset for me throwing it out there, c'est la vie, mon ami. But basically, they had no backbone in changing anything. They were selling their trophies before. They had so many things happening on that side of the world, basically, and they didn't fix it, But now, I gotta say, I feel a bit more confident that it's not the same anymore, So,
well, like I can tell you this much. So, just a quick story on their focus on the Russian player base. So, I remember, and I don't remember it word for word. This is like almost 3 years ago at this point. But I remember talking with the 2 creative developers I had a relationship with, and they said they're like, man, how do you feel about some sort of like translation process on something to do with you? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, somebody that has like your look and knowledge of the game would do really well in Russia. But we don't have that as a Russian, community or content creator today. And I was like, oh, well, like just kind of make a proposal or let me know what you kind of want to do with it. But it was like they were desperate, to grow in Russia, essentially. Like, it wasn't like, hey, we want to have, key people, doing content, or, we need to see this, and in South America and several other continents or countries or whatever. They were fixated on Russia early on, which was just bizarre to me, So I think once they started to get Russian content creators, it was like whatever we can do to keep them happy.
I think that's how it was. Like, we remember the Draco Gate, what happened when they just gave Draco away and they promised massive rewards to everybody else who's gonna do it, but was not really the case. And a lot of other things, like they have their own special giveaways that are going on in the background that the majority of people are not aware of, and stuff like this, their own arena competitions going on through Telegram channels and all that, and Plarium is part of it, giving them a rewards, bounties for it, and it's not part for anyone else. Like nobody else takes part except that community, basically, you know. But now I gotta say, I feel like they got more mature. They have a bit of a backbone now. I feel like the thing flipped a bit around. At least that's kind of like what I'm hoping, you know. I feel a bit more confident in them when we're talking about these sort of situations. I know this was like 2 years ago, and it took them a while to get it sorted. But I feel like they're on a better path now, you know. At least I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think the progression's, you know, it's linear, but it's really not that good. You know, I think it's one of the downsides, and I don't know what the fallacy of it is off the top of my head. You know, people keep saying sunk cost fallacy, but I don't think that's it pertaining to Plarium. But like, you know, there's this aspect of it where, you know, you're engaged, you've spent money, you're committed, and you're just waiting for it to get better, right? And then after a prolonged period of it not getting better, right, you're kind of sitting there and, you know, you're feeling pretty beat up, right? And then they make it a little bit better, and suddenly, you know, you're really excited about that because you've gotten some attention. You know, I think the correct term is Stockholm syndrome, now that I'm thinking about it. You know, and you're happy with that little bit of attention that you got, but objectively, if you stepped outside of it and compared it, like benchmarked it to other developers, it would look awful. It would look completely atrocious. It would look like neglect. And I think that's the reality of Plarium. I think a lot of us are in, you know, some sort of pattern of Stockholm syndrome with this game that are consistently playing it for over 6 months.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna disagree on that, honestly, because it definitely feels like that sometimes. Yeah, like if you compare it with other things, it's like crazy. But I'm just kind of comparing it with like 2 years and a half ago, 3 years ago when we started playing, and literally it took like 3-4 months to get an update, and nothing really changed in that update, and we were like, what? You just spent all these months trying to update the game and nothing actually happened, you know? So yeah, it's crazy. Another thing that is annoying with Arena, man, like people are spending so much money, especially the top Krakens competing in Arena and stuff, and we don't even have a leaderboard at the end of reset, man. Like, it's so annoying. Is it that hard to pull out a list of names and just make a small space here where we can actually click on and see a leaderboard every week after reset? You know, like what? Don't all the people that are paying their salaries deserving to see at least their name on a leaderboard, how we have it for the Doom Tower and all the rest? Like, it's just crazy. We've been asking for it for such a long time. It's just ridiculous, actually.
It's little fixes, and I think, you know, one thing that was interesting is if you go back, Ash had an interview with Cirilla, you know, and I was always surprised that you didn't have one. I know you have a story behind that, but you know, Ash had an interview with Cirilla, and Cirilla made this really, you know, damning comment, right? And she said, you know, I think that Plarium was 5 or 6 times the size with employees as it was when, you know, 2 years ago, right? And I think that video was from January, I want to say, or maybe December. You know, so, and I have no doubt, right? And I think, you know, back when I played, Plarium was around, in the Ukraine office was around like 500 employees, something to that effect. You know, so I know labor costs in Ukraine from what I do for a living are quite cheap, you know, so you're able to probably add that on really quickly. But let's just say that there's 3,000 employees or 3,500 employees or something to that effect. What are they doing? You know, that's my question. Well, I mean, honestly, what on earth are they doing? They should be building this game. I mean, this is the main game they have, right? We saw that the other day. I mean, this isn't just the biggest game Plarium has. This is, you know, 28% of the revenue of the digital platform for the parent company, right? So this is the biggest game for the parent company even. But what are, you know, so Cirilla made the comment, we have 5 or 6 times as many employees. Well, what are y'all doing? Why not make these little changes? Like, where does all of that stop? And my honest opinion is honestly 2 things. I think that they're focused on marketing, right? They're not focused on the game. I think that's been the case all along, right? And I think the second aspect of it is probably that they have like a decision by committee system. Someone in there, right, is doing things the way that they did things when they were a small company operating out of that guy Avi Sharahim's garage, because that's where he started this company, right? Then I think 5 of those 6 key people, maybe 4 of them, are still present at the company today. So are y'all still doing things in that way? Because you can't anymore. Your company's massive now. Your product is huge, you know. Are you waiting till everyone can sit in a room together and vote, right? And hearing everyone out, because that's what decision by committee essentially is. So I think that might be the case, but that's my speculation. Whereas I think it's we have some evidence that they've never been focused on the game. They've only ever been focused on marketing. But come on, you've grown 6 times over in your employee base, but you've only gotten slightly better at releasing stuff. And if you compare this game, I'm sure, to one of its competitors, and we did this on one of my videos a while back. This is interesting, but the EBITDA, which is the main KPI of a company, right? This is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. The EBITDA of Raid alone, right, is bigger than the entire parent company that develops Summoners Wars.
Oh,
Come
wow.
to us. Yeah. Raid alone's EBITDA is bigger than that entire company. So what are they doing? Why aren't they making the game better? Why aren't they doing these little things? This is an easy one.
Definitely, it's all related to marketing. And how we talked in the other video, I never really thought that the company was designed to be like a company that looks at the longevity of a product. I feel like there's more like a quick cash grab, and then they realized, well, we can actually milk the cow. Let's start milking the cow. So I feel like now slowly they're trying to understand more and more that it's beneficial for them to milk the same cow for a long period of time, better than just make Raid 2.0, and start again. They gotta build a reputation as a company, like any other company did. Like Summoner's War, for example, they just started their second game, just live arena. Literally, that's everything in the entire game. And everybody loved it that played Summoner's War before. They jumped straight on it, and most of the people, they're still playing that game, even though it's just live arena. It's nothing else that you can do. I have time today, I'm gonna log in, do my 10 fights, and that's about it. I don't have time tomorrow, it's fine. I'm gonna be part of that reset, of that arena experience, competitive sort of experience, because I'm gonna do it when I have time, in my own time, not your own time. I'm not forced to stay awake till 2 a.m. to do a reset, which then I'm not gonna enjoy anymore because I'm half asleep. I can't even play it properly, and 2 weeks later I'll be like, screw this, I'm gonna move to the next game. So I feel like they definitely need to start working on a classic arena. And even 3v3, they could make some sort of resets in 3v3 that matter, and they actually give us more than the bazaar, like something. Even if we just earn like cosmetics, like avatars and something every week, like let's just say you put 10-20 avatars in there and people compete in that too, because at the moment I'm just farming 3v3 arena with one-man defense because nobody cares about it. That's how bad it is, the game mode.
No, and I can tell you, even when 3v3 released, I was still talking to one of the creative developers, and I've said this a lot of times in my own content before, but he even said, like, he kind of vented to me a little bit, and he was like, man, it could have been a lot better than it is. And I was like, well, why is it the way it is? And he was like, there's, and he actually told me at the time, now that I'm thinking about it, we have decision by committee here, and there's people on that committee that, were around in the beginning, but don't play this game, don't understand how it works. So he was like, we had some really great ideas, they just didn't pass, and we got stuck with what we have today. So that's discouraging, and so, but it's failing upwards, right? I mean, we see it in a lot of things. If the economy is right, and if you get into the right thing at the right time, I mean, and I've seen it done in, especially in commodities. I mean, if you develop the right commodity when the demand for that commodity is really good, then all of a sudden, you look like a genius, and everything just works out. And then you're not going to change the way you're leading your company. It's gotten you success, but the reality is that the commodity was successful. You weren't successful at all. And today, I mean, gacha games are not a commodity, but gacha games are, they're in vogue, they're popular. And you have Plarium, or you have a Raid Shadow Legends, and it's really a gacha game designed to be a Western Summoners Wars. So it's going to be inherently successful due to the fact that people want to play this sort of thing right now. And I think the timing was just perfect. But unfortunately, you have all this success. You're accomplishing all your monetary goals. You're probably doing 5 times what you imagined you would. Why would you change?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but really good companies become self-aware of how much of their success is attributed to the economy, right, and the conditions around the buyers, right, and how much of it actually comes from the company making the process of acquiring and managing customers better, and or an experience or a good experience. So Plarium unfortunately is the biggest, they're the standard at this point. So my fear was always that it just everybody else looks at Plarium and says, well, we don't even really have to care what our players think, all we have to do is spend money on marketing, and I haven't seen anyone else do it yet, so that's good news. That's a good start. But I don't think Plarium's ever going to change, man. I don't think we're going to see any of these changes. I think once the community is extremely disgruntled about something and we push really hard, I think 4 or 5 months later we'll see a small change, and that's probably it. But until they start having some down quarters, until the revenue or the EBITDA starts dropping, probably by double digits, I don't think anyone's even going to care what the community thinks. At that point, I think somebody will start asking, like, well, what can we do? Can we ask people that are in the community? Because here's the thing, the leadership at Aristocrat won't even realize that the community is upset until the spending slows down. They're not engaged, they're not part, they don't play the game, right? How would they know?
Exactly, yeah. Like, if they're not part of the community, you won't know what's happening around it. It's pretty straightforward with it. Yeah.
And nowadays, like even if you do bad reviews, the most common thing to say is, "Oh, well, that was my competition. My competition made fake Summoners Wars made fake profiles and gave us 1-star reviews." Like that's a thing now.
It is. Yeah, it is. 100% it is. Yeah, it's definitely going like that. Though it's just generally in any business, like you quickly find a way to throw it on someone else or to find an excuse, even though might not be the true reason behind it, but it's definitely something that's happening just overall all around it, But I'm really hoping that they're gonna change something for Arena, man. Like, we want to kind of have like a permanent fix for the lower tiers, new people to enjoy grinding Arena, doing their great haul, not feeling it like it's a burden and being like, I hate Arena, I never want to do it again, because that's a part that overall will keep the people playing the game, and in the longevity of the game, people will be like, okay, I managed to do my great haul, but I still like to play Arena, I learned this new strategy, I can use this, because we have so many different champions, so many different strategies that we can use in this game with the mechanics that we have, and definitely Platinum should change. The Arena resets should change in a way where it's beneficial for the entire community. The entire community gets to take part of it. Of course, the community that wants to do it, not every single player out there that doesn't care about it, but we definitely need to see some sort of changes, since this is the year of PvP, I think we can end it with the year of PvP. We are waiting for it.
Yeah, we're waiting for it to start. We're basically through the first quarter already, and we've seen absolutely nothing. But my hope is that the stagnation coming from Hydra Boss, my fear is that they try to fix Hydra and that their resources today go into fixing Hydra. I think they just need to leave Hydra where it is, and then today I think they need to address the longer list of problems, within the game, like the Arena Tavern, the list kind of goes on, the summoning portal. Those are much more significant issues within the game, and than fixing Hydra. But my fear is that they try to fix Hydra right now, and they kind of get off of their focus, moves away. But that's one team. That's the team that fixes the game, and I imagine it's very small and they're highly ineffective. The other teams are probably focused on building the real-time arena system that I think is going to probably come sometime this year. And I think that's really what they're foreshadowing, is that there's going to be a new arena system. And I got to be honest, I think the last thing that'll get fixed is 3v3. I would have some hope that the regular arena gets fixed. But,
yeah, same. I just had to throw it in there because it's just showing my enjoyment towards it, like...
Yeah. It's tough, man. I mean, like, it's, if somebody came out to you today and said, I got, first in, the platinum reset, you're gonna be like, man, cool. That was an accomplishment. That took some effort. But if somebody came out and was like, I'm number 1 in 3v3, you'd be like, dude, who cares?
Like, well, what is that? Go get a life, We'll be like, go get a life, man. That's not cool at all,
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah.
Definitely a good chat, Kizel. Thanks for being on the channel. And guys, don't
sure,
forget, head over and subscribe. You will be finding the link to his channels in the pinned comments. A pleasure to have you on the channel. Plarium, please take some notes, and hopefully we'll be seeing some nice improvements in the near future, since this is the year of PvP. But Kiesel, a pleasure as always. Peace, guys.
Peace.